Gorilla than the planet of the apes. I write a punchline and plant it on your face. Eat a punch that you ain't even got to taste. Here's a shot that you ain't even got to chase.
To ask you about what happened at the weigh-in. You took out a Wonka bar, chocolate bar, and we took a bite. What was that all about?
You know, you gotta buy the Wonka bar to see if you can get there in the factory, man, the chocolate factory. And I was lucky, you know, only 5 winners get it. I got the golden ticket. It's actually here right now as we speak.
That's what I'm asking you about. What's the golden ticket thing about?
Man, that's for my people up in the high table to know, and for everyone else to find out little by little.
All right. So I'm sitting next to Tim Bradley, who won't stop telling me what questions to ask you, right? He wants to know about how many weeks you sparred for this fight because you only sparred 2 weeks for the last fight. He wants to know about is Martin playing head games with you because Kambosos played head games and that was your only loss. So go ahead. Why don't you answer Tim Bradley's questions first, and I'll ask you mine.
To be honest, I would say that no, there's no, like, the only person that beats me is me, you know what I'm saying? So it's no mental. I mean, all these guys have tried. Everyone has tried to.
So that's more of the same. I guess Kambosos didn't beat him, right? Because he beat himself.
Get under my skin. They think that what Kambosos did was it, but I was just dealing with a lot of personal stuff. I was going through stages in my personal life, getting close to a divorce, but we're no longer there, thank God. You know, just a lot of things, a lot of complications in my life. But hey, we're just moving forward now. You know, I was dealing with stuff with my family at the same time. It's just a lot of pressure. You know, I'm only 25. You know, a lot of people think that you could carry the whole world at that age. And, you know, it's just all about now figuring out in my own headspace. The ship doesn't move without myself. You know, I'm the compass now, and I got to realize that more than ever. I can't dictate or allow anyone else that hasn't done anything in their life to tell me how I should live mine.
So what about the sparring? How many weeks sparring you get for this one?
Week of sparring, I did very good, very good. I did a lot of rounds this time around. We did about, let's say, how many weeks? I would say about a whole month, anywhere from, actually, no, 5 weeks of sparring. So I'm definitely, I feel much better. I have that maturity side and going into the ring, and I feel like everyone's going to see that come tomorrow night.
Tim Bradley and Andre Ward are nodding approvingly as you say 5 weeks of sparring. So when you were on the show last month,
Max, I'm gonna be honest, man.
Here we go, Joe. Listen up.
I'm gonna be honest, man. Like, hey, and this ain't no disrespect to those champs. I got nothing but love for you guys. I think that ESPN needs to reevaluate the guys that are on there because there's too much vanilla in there. They need some Neapolitan up on that podium.
Okay.
So you could hear that was probably Tim Bradley in the background going. Because essentially he's telling Max, yo, we got a little too much white people on that ESPN panel, and it was Joe. Any reaction to that?
Well, let me ask you this: Is Teofimo a person of color?
I mean, he says he's Spanish. I would argue that he's like mestizo of like mixed Spanish and like indigenous descent, but he has said himself that he's Spanish. So that's a very good question.
So if you're Spanish, you're not really a person of color, correct?
Yeah, I mean, if you're Spanish, you're European.
Yeah, okay. So if you have Tim Bradley and Andre Ward, and they're the guys that are doing the commentary, then you got Bernardo Asuna.
Asuna,
right?
yeah.
So if you think about it, there's more minorities at Top Rank possibly, or they're well represented at Top Rank, if not if just as much, or if not maybe even more than white people. So his argument is very flawed. But once again, this is a guy that always makes statements like many people in the chat without doing research and actually knowing what they're talking about. Once again, you know when you speak based off of emotion, not knowledge and logic, usually this is what happens. You get diarrhea of the mouth. But go ahead.
So he spends a lot of the remainder of this talking about you know, how he's essentially given props to Andre Ward and Tim Bradley, and you know, not obviously saying much nice about Kellerman. And then he literally openly petitions for Kellerman's job, which I'm going to get to. Here we go.
sneak peek of what I have more in store for tomorrow night. I'm very someone that's creative. You know, this is my art. You know, I'm here to be abstract in every way possible. I really want people to admire my artwork. You know, that's why I respect the man that says, "Be water, my friend." Because in all honesty, all he ever wanted to really do is show anyone that you could just be you. Don't follow anybody. You know, I've learned a lot of great things from Andre Ward, Hall of Famer. I've also learned a lot from Timothy Bradley, who gives me good knowledge. You know, I've learned from these great champions. I don't have no ego or pride towards them. My whole thing is like my jab has gotten better because I've studied those type of fighters. You know, Andre Ward has one of the best jabs in the game. You know, and how do you learn that? And he has different jabs, and we explained that the other day. So it's just all those things, man. I'm a student of the game, and I'm willing to accept being a student. So that way,
what does that even mean?
Future, I could become that tremendous.
What does that even mean?
Becoming.
Well,
This guy's a virtue signaler, bro. Like, he's so full of shit, and if you can't see that, then it's ridiculous.
To see you back in the ring. Can't wait to see
He's
you.
going to openly petition for Kellerman's job right now. After earlier saying that there's too much vanilla, he's going to openly petition for it. Hold on.
I look forward to becoming.
Well, it's great to have you back in the ring. Can't wait to see you perform. Good talking to you as always, Theo. Thanks for joining the show. Good luck tomorrow night.
Absolutely. And listen, I just want to throw my shot in there because, you know, closed mouths don't get fed. I'm looking forward to really expand myself in different ways and different platforms. And I would love to be utilized in all those aspects, whether it's voiceovers, commentating, acting, all those things I know I can do. And I just don't want to be known as a professional boxer anymore. So for everyone out there, let's do it.
I think the guys with me now can tell you it beats working for a living doing this for sure. Thank you, Teo. Okay, so
look at Andre Ward and Tim Bradley. Look at Tim Bradley.
On the one hand, I hear him, bro, because
I'm gonna go back. I gotta stop this because we gotta.
So let's look at that table. Let's look at that table.
Do it.
The color's not represented at that table.
Apparently,
dummy.
Look at Tim Bradley though.
I think the guys with me now can tell you it beats working for a living doing this for sure. Thank you, Teo.
Look at Tim Bradley.
So, guys,
look at Ward.
On the one hand, I hear him because, look, he wants to diversify. He'd like to do commentary. He would like to do a whole bunch of stuff. That's fine. But when I start to hear a fighter talk about that while he's active, I mean, as a long time
exactly.
Do it, but it starts to make
well,
me
look
nervous.
at Tim Bradley and Andre Ward.
Feel
Look
like
at
you
it.
have options.
Look at
Great
it.
champions a lot of times feel like they don't. Right? What do you guys think?
Look at he's like, yo, you go.
Like, he's trying to find himself still. He's still 25 years old. He doesn't know what direction he wants to move. He loves boxing.
Oh, this is awesome.
It was like boxing hasn't been good to him in the sense of financially. He mentioned the Haney making $4 million. He's making whatever, $1 million. I understand that, but it's he can't blame anybody but his manager at the end of the day. I mean, that's it. Your manager. Talk to your manager. That's what this is about.
I don't even blame his manager. The guy's not marketable because he fucking says too many stupid things. You can't be a joke and be taken seriously in this world. Sorry,
well, it's fine. It's fine. I mean, look, it's a guy who didn't make the U.S. Olympic team. His dad was crying to everybody, saying that he was robbed. But then they're still saying
always someone else's fault. Take ownership. Be a fucking man.
They're still saying that Gambosis robbed them. So now I don't believe that he was robbed at the Olympic trials. So he didn't make the Olympic team in the U.S. He fights for Honduras. And then once he turns pro, now all of a sudden he's Spanish, like Sandor Martin, which, by the way, is why I've labeled this card Spanish versus Spanish. But notice I got the quotations on the first Spanish. But okay, we get it. So now there's too much vanilla, right, at ESPN that has Tim Bradley, that has Andre Ward, that has Bernardo Osuna. Granted, they also have Mark Kriegel and Joe Tessitore there, but I've named you three quote unquote visible minorities.
Christina Poncher.
Ward.
Christina Poncher.
Right? I mean, what are we doing here?
They had Sinicia Estrada doing commentary the other day on there.
I mean, you run it back, and it's like Andre Ward, like he didn't even want to talk about it at first. It's like look at Andre Ward here. Hold on, look at Andre Ward.
As a longtime observer of the sport, Doesn't mean he can't do it, but it starts to make me nervous. Like if you feel like you have options, great champions a lot of times feel like they don't, right? What do you guys think?
Look, Andre Ward is like head nodded.
Ward, you know what Ward's saying? This is beneath me. I don't even want to fucking talk about this shit.
Yeah, that's literally Andre Ward's reaction to this. So I'm going to go back to where we left off with Tim Bradley. Here we go.
Haney doesn't do anything extra. He just makes
$1 million. He's making whatever $1 million. I understand that, but it's he can't blame anybody but his manager. At the end of the day, I mean, that's it. Your manager. Talk to your manager. That's what this is about.
Haney doesn't do anything extra. He just makes the fights, fights the fights, looks for the next fight. You know,
that's it. You know.
Yeah, you don't get what's fair. You get what you negotiate. So
there you go, Ward.
Don't pocket watch Devin Haney. Devin Haney and Bill Haney, they're doing their thing. They're getting paid. You got to go to your team and you got to ask the tough questions. And if you need to make some change, you got to do that. So you can't get mad at the game. The game's only going to give you what you negotiate.
And Haney got frozen out of the big time for a while. Just kept plugging away. Now he's on top. He got the title that used to belong.
Stop it for 1 second, please.
And very, very.
We got to go.
And this is a man, Andre Ward. You don't have to like him. You can criticize whatever you want, right? Never in your life find me a clip where he's ever said, yeah, you know, this guy's making this. I don't, you know, I should be making that. Like he negotiated his deals. You can question why did he sign with Goosen? Why did he sign with Jay-Z's fucking with that organization? Rock Nation. Thank you. You know, he made $5 million for what's his name there, Kovalev. He was happy with his money. He was a millionaire. He's successful. He never complained that he didn't make you know, a $10 million purse or $100 million. He never complained about that because he was happy with what he got, right? And he never tried to subtract from someone else to add to himself. He never pocket watched anyone else. So this is a man who's saying something, but he's not only talking the talk, he walked the walk. So keep that in mind.
Bro, he absolutely walking the walk and talking the talk. Like, bro, don't pocket watch Devin Haney. And by the way, he's also saying that Devin Haney wasn't like the real undisputed champion. And, you know, he's been like Devin Haney got all of the belts. I don't know. I don't understand how anybody could criticize Devin Haney. But it's funny because I was watching this with my wife last night after Kenny told me I should watch it. Right. And we're watching this shit. And my wife, you know, she's a casual boxing fan now. I mean, it's impossible not to be when you're married to somebody like me. And she's like, but Devin Haney has all the belts. Like, he doesn't have any belts. Like, why should he be making $4 million to fight Sandor?
Is he making $1 million for this fight?
Does that even make sense?
What is his actual purse for this fight?
Well, Tim Bradley said it. I'll go back. He's the one who said it. We'll play it back.
Because, look, he wants to diversify. He'd like to do commentary. He would like to do a whole bunch of stuff. That's fine. But when I start to hear a fighter talk about that while he's active, I mean...
while he's in an interview with Max Kellerman, telling Max Kellerman there's too much vanilla at the table, I see 2 chocolate and 1 vanilla at the table. How much vanilla do you see at the table, Joe Habib?
I see probably... I see 2 scoops of chocolate and 1 scoop of vanilla, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, seriously, right? So he's saying there's too much vanilla at the table. He goes on to openly petition for Max Kellerman's job in an interview with Max Kellerman. And then, like he said, Max Kellerman's like, should he really be focused on this before a fight?
As a longtime observer of the sport, doesn't mean he can't do it, but it starts to make me nervous. Like, if you feel like you have options,
great champions
Ward. A lot of times feel like they don't,
himself.
Right? What do you guys think?
Look at Andre.
I just feel that, like, he's trying to find himself still. He's still 25 years old. He doesn't know what direction he wants to move in. He loves boxing, but he just feels like boxing hasn't been good to him in the sense of financially. He mentioned the Haney making $4 million. He's making whatever, $1 million. I understand that, but he can't blame anybody but his manager at the end of the day. I mean, that's it. Your manager.
So I got to do it one last time, Joe. I'm sorry. It was too good.
He doesn't do anything extra. He just makes the fights, fights the fights, looks for the next fight, you know.
That's it, you know.
Yeah, you don't get what's fair. You get what you negotiate.
Boom.
So he don't pocket watch Devin Haney. Devin Haney.
Yo, I mean, he's sounding like he's straight out of the yay area right here. He's sounding like he's E40 or Too Short, telling the young man how the game work. Right? You don't get what you deserve. You get what you negotiate, player. Right? I mean, the Oakland's coming all the way out of Andre Ward right now. That Oakland hustler mentality.
I used to tell people that used to complain about how much they made. I said, listen, the deal you take is the deal you make.
Yeah.
It's that simple.
And if you can't make a deal, you know what you got to do, Joe? You got to get on a job where you got a union doing collective negotiations, which is what I have, which is what Joe have.
You need a seat at the table. You need a seat if you can't get a seat at the table, then guess what, bro?
You need a seat at the table.
Don't sit down.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't negotiate my salary. Anybody could look up my salary on the internet, right? Because guess what? I'm rated 8B, which is 8 years plus teaching. All right, and a master's plus 30 credits on the DOE step scale. So do the math. I didn't negotiate that. I don't need to negotiate. But he's in an industry where you need to negotiate. And like Andre Ward said, it's not it's not what you deserve, it's what you negotiate.
Haney and Bill Haney, they're doing their thing, they're getting paid. You got to go to your team and you got to ask the tough questions. And if you need to make some change, you got to do that. So you can't get mad at the game. The game's only gonna give you what you negotiate.
And Haney got frozen out of.
And that right there, Joe, is the way it is, man. You know, Virtuoso says Andre Ward is trying to apply street knowledge in an air conditioning studio. But to me, what he said made sense. And yeah, she is very observant, Dwayne. I appreciate that.
It is. I mean, the facts are going to be where the facts are. You could be at the bottom of a fucking pit. It don't matter. If you're saying truth, you're saying truth. You could be in a fucking, in a fucking stall in a bathroom at a fucking McDonald's. If you're talking the truth, you're talking the truth. Don't matter where you're at.
I agree. So, Joe Habib, thank you so much for joining, man. This was a special episode of Punchlines. All right. Great to have Joe Habib come on, because usually I'm doing this shit on my own on Punchline.
Gorilla than the planet of the apes. I write a punchline and plant it on your face. Eat a punch that you ain't even got to taste. Here's a shot that you ain't even got to chase.